Hello there. Happy Customer Service Week. Thank you so much for showing up today, showing up for you, showing up to learn a new skill. Today, we are looking at empathy and connection. And I think empathy is one of the most underrated soft skills of the customer service professional. We all know what it is. We have an idea that it's helpful, but we don't dig in and maximize empathy. Empathy is a powerful tool to help you preempt an escalation. It helps you preempt an escalation because you make your customers feel heard and understood. And a lot of the time when people escalate, it's because they feel that you don't get it, you don't hear them. Empathy is a way to apologize without even having to say the words, I'm sorry, though you can certainly say those words. But empathy, when done right, can embed that apology right in. Empathy fosters a sense of rapport and connection, and that's what makes customers feel that the customer experience was warm, was responsive, and friendly. So today it is all about empathy. I am going to give you 4 keys, really easy to pull off keys for conveying empathy. And I'm going to share with you 2 powerful examples through email that really struck me as probably some of the best empathy phrases I have ever seen. So you're going to walk away, I hope, walk away inspired and ready to convey empathy in a more intentional way. All right, let's get right into the 4 keys for conveying more empathy to your customers. Key number 1 is I want you to put yourself in your customer's shoes. It is that simple. I want you to take one of the more consistent problems you hear about from your customers. I mean, this is something that happens every day, and it's easy for us to become desensitized to it because we hear it so much. Take a problem in that category. And I want you to imagine that you are the customer and that exact problem happened to you. I really do want you to put yourself in the customer's shoes. And then I want you to imagine if I was in this position and had the exact same problem dealing with this company, what would I need? What would I be feeling? What would I be afraid of? What would it take to reassure me? I want you to really just get in the mindset of your customer and think, what would I need? What would I feel? What would I fear? What would it take? That mindset alone, without the other keys, is enough. If we take it seriously, if we're intentional, is enough to get us to respond with empathy. And that's all empathy is. It's putting yourself in the shoes of another person. So keep that key in mind as we go through the others. Here's one of my favorite ways to sincerely convey empathy. It is called feel, felt, found. And this is a technique that's actually out of the sales world. You're trying to overcome objections. If you're a salesperson, overcome objections by showing that you get it, you feel it, you hear it from the customer. But we're going to use it not as a way to sell, but a way to connect with feel, felt, found. And so here's how it works. You take a problem, and I'll set us up with an example. One of my clients is in the food and beverage industry, and one of their products is yogurt. And a common issue that comes up is customers call and they want to know what are the ingredients in this yogurt. And the reason they want to know is they or someone they love has a food allergy. And what they're trying to determine is, does this product have that allergen in it? The problem for my client is they are not able to give the full ingredient list. Like most companies are not going to do that in food and beverage. That's like their secret sauce. We're not going to give the recipe. But as I know, that food allergies are real. So when my client brought me in to work on this specific problem, I thought feel, felt, found would be perfect. And so here's how it works. You explain to the customer that I get it. I can relate to how you feel. You let them know that others have felt the same way, other customers, and you let them know what other customers or you have found to be helpful. So that is a formula. So going back to the yogurt analogy, I pulled an example from my personal experience. My daughter has a walnut allergy, and empathy works best if you can get personal. Where it makes sense, where you're not crossing the line. So in the workshop, I shared with my client, if I was on the phone talking to a person who wanted the full ingredient list for the yogurt, here's what I might say. I might say, I can certainly relate to how you feel, wanting to make sure that our product is safe for your child. Um, I can relate because my daughter has a walnut allergy, and it's important for me to know what's in the food that she eats. Now, you don't have to say all of that, but you get what I'm saying. I can relate to how you feel. My daughter has an allergy. Or if you don't have, someone in your family with an allergy, or somebody you're taking care of, you can say, I can relate to your focus on making sure that the food you give your family is safe. Then you move right into felt. So that's the next sentence, the next breath. You might say, we've had other customers in your same position who have felt a similar way, that it is urgent, that they understand what's in their products, what's in the food they eat. So it's important that you do all three. So you have to say, I get how you feel. I respect how you feel. I'm listening, and let them know there are others, not just you and them, but others, particularly customers, specifically customers. So other customers have felt the same way. They have someone that they're caring for with a food allergy. And the final piece, here's what they found helped them. We print off all ingredients with a known allergic reaction. Okay, we make that available on our website, and it's also listed on our products. And other customers have found, that helpful to know. So we encourage you to look at the label, and every known allergen is listed if it's an ingredient here, or you can go to the website. So feel, felt, found is a way to convey empathy. I get it, I hear you, I can relate, and at the same time, guide the customer to the next steps. So try feel, felt, found. All right, here is my next key to empathy. It is to listen with the intent to understand. I want you to listen to your customer in such a way that my focus is not on telling you what you did wrong. I'm not trying to focus on the next steps. I want to understand. Now, this tip comes from Stephen Covey, the author of The 7 Habits for Highly Effective People. His 5th habit in the book is understand, then be understood. And Covey breaks down in the book that most of us listen with the intent to reply, not to understand. We're having conversation with someone and we're waiting for our opportunity to jump in, agree or disagree, just share our opinion or our reaction. With customers, we're often listening to say, oh, wait a minute, I need to transfer you, or claim number. We're jumping ahead to what we need. We're not listening to understand, we're listening to reply. I want you to do just the opposite, because if you're listening to reply, it sounds like a transaction. It sounds rote. It sounds mechanical. Listening with the intent to understand is with you fully focusing. You're saying things like, I see. You're letting the customer finish their sentence. You're letting them vent, a few seconds to get it out. They want you to hear their story. So when you listen with the intent to understand, Stephen Covey says, then and only then is the other person able to listen to you. And they're able because they feel heard, they feel understood. But when you listen to reply and you keep jumping in and over talking and guiding them to the next steps when they're not ready, they don't feel that you've heard anything. And that's why you're going to have excessive talk time when you listen to reply. That's why it's going to be more likely that the situation will escalate. So listening with the intent to understand is going to foster rapport and connection, make the customer feel heard, reduce the chance of an escalation, and shorten your talk time. So lots of benefits right there. All right, next, I want you to think about how you might reply to a customer if that customer was one of your elders. Now look at this. So before you respond with that tone or that particular word choice, that approach or that attitude, think about if this customer was my mother, my grandfather, my great aunt, somebody in your family that you deeply respect. How would you approach them? Would your tone be different? Would your words change at all? I got this idea when I thought about my daughter, who she's 22 now. When she was much younger, probably a teen, 12, maybe 13. My mother, we'd given my mother, her grandmother, an iTunes gift card. Remember back when the iTunes store was a thing? I think it's just Apple Music now. Well, we'd given her that, and my mother was over the phone FaceTime trying to understand how to scratch it off, get the number, redeem it. And for a grandmother, for my mother anyway, that was complicated. That was a whole lot. Had me regretting that gift for her without being there to walk her through it. So she's FaceTiming with my daughter, and I noticed my daughter had patience. She paced herself. She was breaking it down for my mom step by step, almost like a second grade teacher talking to a classroom. Now, she would sometimes turn her head and I get a little eye roll. I could see in her body language some frustration, but the words and the tone and the attitude, the face that my mom saw was respect and patience. And I thought, that's it. If we can get in the frame of mind of speaking to our customers, even our difficult customers, with the respect and the patience, and coming from that place as we would speak to an elder that we respect, wow, like would that not be incredible? All right, those are my four keys for feeling more empathy, expressing more empathy. But before I let you go, I do have examples, two examples that I want to share with you that are powerful for empathy. And I think that I hope that you'll be able to take these ideas, these examples, and then walk away and convey empathy in a way that is similar, relevant to your customers and your business, and equally as powerful. So, the first example, one of my clients actually shared this with me after a workshop. We were talking about empathy, and she explained to me that she and her husband took their daughter to have her very first photo shoot. The daughter was 2 months old. And as a mother of two, I can relate to everything that goes in that. For the first photo shoot, it was her first child, first photo shoot. You got the child dressed up. You're a bit nervous. Will she smile? Will she be hungry? Will she poop? Will they be on time? Will we get a good quality photo shoot? Well, my client said they showed up. They had an appointment. Even with an appointment, they had to wait 45 minutes past the appointment time. She said, meanwhile, our daughter was cranky. She was hungry. She needed to be changed. We didn't get a good quality photo shoot. And then even once we got back in the studio, the photographer had to get up many times to answer the phone or to greet people because she was the only one working in the studio. So my client said, I went home that day and sent an email to the studio. It was JCPenney Studios. I don't even know if they're still around, the studio, but it was at this time. And she said, the reply I got was one of the best email responses I've ever read. So I have a copy of that email and I want to read parts of it to you to show you the profound empathy. The entire response is great, but we're going to focus on here the empathy. So it starts off with, thank you for reaching out to JCPenney Portraits. But let's jump down to the highlighted part. Joan says, I am very sorry to hear of your recent disappointment in our studio services. And I love that the I am, not we're sorry, but she made it personal. I am sorry. And then the second highlighted area, as a mother of 3 children, I can certainly understand the frustration and disappointment you had with having to wait so long and then not getting the quality sitting that you are entitled to. I love that. That's a take on the feel, felt, found. So the writer of this email, Joan, is saying, as a mother, I can relate to that. So she made it personal, like I did with the walnut allergy. I realize that this does not make up for the time and effort already spent on all of this, but I hope that it does in some way show how truly regretful I am. So Joan offered to, come back, and she's got some discounts and motivation to come back. But I love how she said this. I hope it shows how truly regretful that I am. Final highlighted area. I am confident that a future visit to our studio will better reflect our commitment to customer satisfaction. That's not necessarily empathy, but I just love that. That is a very well written complaint response. And that is a posture I want us to take. Notice the empathy there, but the entire letter is great as well. Second example, I tried Blue Apron food food delivery box. It's like it's in the same industry as HelloFresh or Purple Carrot. I tried it for the very first time. I got a nice discount to try it for the first time. And my first box arrived, or when I opened it, there was a bag of lentils. It was a tomato lentil soup, a part of one of the recipes. The bag of lentils was ripped, and the lentils were throughout the cardboard box, a hot mess. And then two of the tomatoes for that same recipe, they were rotten. So it was really frustrating for my first experience. So I reached out to Blue Apron on I think I filled out a complaint inquiry form, and just a couple of hours later, I get one of the best complaint response letters I've ever seen with a focus on empathy. I have that letter for you. Let's take a look at how Blue Apron wowed me after the lentil spilled in the box. Thanks for reaching out about this issue, Myra. I'm so disappointed to hear that our lentils that your lentils spilled during transit. I hate to think that you won't be able to fully enjoy your meals and that you had this mess to clean. I've sent your feedback over to my quality team, and this feedback will help us ensure that this won't happen in the future. Now, here's the powerful empathy from me. I wish I could help clean this up myself. However, as an apology, I've applied a credit for $19.98 toward a future order. To see this credit, and she gives the details. And then the final paragraph, I know this isn't the same as receiving a perfect shipment in the first place. However, I hope it can still give us the chance to show you a better experience. I loved it. I loved everything about that letter and that email. That is empathy. That is nurturing the relationship. Now, I've given you two letters. Let me show you a simple phrase to convey empathy. One of my favorite words to use with a customer when I want to express empathy is the word frustrate. Frustrating, frustrated, frustrate. I like the word frustrate because it doesn't assume that the customer is like a 10, like pissed off. And it doesn't minimize the issue either. It's right there in the middle. So I use the word frustrate a lot. So here's something you can adapt. I realize this whole thing has been frustrating for you, or I know this has frustrated you. That is a way to make a person feel heard and understood, and then you can quickly go to the next steps. Well, all right, you are officially prepared to convey empathy. Empathy is important. It helps us establish rapport. It helps us create connection. It helps you preempt an escalation. It is the apology. It is like the one skill that is going to help you de escalate, give bad news, and create rapport, guide people to the next steps, all in one. So don't forget about empathy. Don't leave empathy on the table. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with me. I wish you all of the success you are prepared to work for.